In this tutorial, we would like to walk you through the process of speeding up and simplifying the entry of new requests, the catalog of requests. It is that easy. With just one press of a button, you have an easy-to-use and customized request, which will automatically send to the people chosen beforehand. You can expect some basic information for better understanding of the function, step-by-step guide on how to make it work and how to use it later. The catalog of requests allows you to make new requests more effective. To do this, define templates. These templates extend your use of the requests module for specific scenarios. Here is a list of parameters you set for a template. Pre-enter an assignee, attachment, type, service area, and description for faster completion of a new request. You can assign a company or categories of companies. The company can use a catalog created directly for it. Visibility can be adjusted depending on the job positions and user groups. The logged-in user has only selected template setup. Based on a custom set of properties, a request can be created for multiple different scenarios. Automatically created tasks or work orders with a created request will be assigned to the assignees. A template can have an approval process linked to it. To create requests through the catalog of requests, you must first create tiles in the Global Settings, Requests, Catalog of Requests. You can create them as followed. In the Request Catalog Tree Tiles section, click on the hamburger menu. 3 horizontal lines. 3 options will be shown. To add a new tile, press on a child tag. Then, in a new blank row, type the name of the tile. A short or long description as well as a slug are optional. You can then select the appropriate icon. To confirm the creation of a new tile, click on the icon with a green tick. After finishing the entire tile tree, do not forget to save and refresh the page. You can create a new template through Request Templates, if you have the request catalog turned on in the Global Settings. To create a new template, click Add Record. After clicking, a form will open to create a new template. Next, you must fill out some data. Required items are marked with a dot. From the basic information, you need to add a name of the request. It is also possible to use the template name as the name of the new request. If you need to, you can add a request description, a note, or an approval rule. You can learn more about approval rules on our webpage, cdesk.eu. You can find this link in the description below this video. The following settings are displayed only if the service area is enabled in the Global Settings, Requests, Types, and Areas of Service Requests. In the Restrict Type selection, you have 2 options available. No restrictions. Requests created from this template will not have a restricted choice of request types. All service areas that are defined in the Global Settings will be available on the request. Or the second option, restricted to the listed types. When you select this option, a field is made available to select the types of requests that will be available for the request created from that template. In the Edit columns when creating a request and Editing when modifying a request, you can set who will be able to edit the request. The default type lets you select the type that will be set by default when you create a request. The default set value on the request can be changed based on the template settings. This setting is available regardless of whether the choice of the request type is restricted or not. If the choice of types is not restricted, you can set any type of request that is defined in CDesk as the default type. If the selection type is restricted, you can set only the listed types as the default value. Regular visibility is selected by default. That means that the request created from this template will also be visible to customers. If you choose internal visibility, customers will not be able to see the request. The service area selection works on the same principle as the request type. This means that this setting will also be available if you turn it on in the global settings. You can also set who can edit the request. You can choose the default area from those you have prepared in the global settings. To select an item from the CMDB database, you have a choice of 4 options, namely by service area global settings, disabled, optional and required. CI, i.e. an item in the configuration database, represents any asset owned by you or owned by your customers. These can be devices, operated services, or any equipment which lifecycle needs to be recorded. For example, active, unused, discarded. Changes in parameters such as device placement or attached accessories. History of maintenance performed on these items, or connections between items. In Properties, it is necessary to select the property and assignee of the given request. Priority is your own selection list, which you can set yourself in the global settings, or you can use the pre-prepared priority selection list. In the Assignee field, it is necessary to select an assignee who will deal with the created request. If the assigned assignee misses the request response deadline, it is possible to assign the request to another assignee or group. You can select such a replacement assignee in the When deadline to respond is missed Assign to box. It is also possible to give preference to an assignee and choose an assistant assignee or a responsible person. For each template, a custom set of additional properties can be defined, which allows you to adapt the creation of requests to different scenarios, and also significantly accelerates the creation of a request by filling in only those fields that are relevant to your scenario. To add an additional property, click Assign Property. After clicking, a new window opens with a list of additional properties that you define in the configuration database. For each property, there is a checkbox that you can use to mark the property you want. To add selected properties, use the Assign Selected Properties button. If the list does not include the property you want, you can also define it directly in the Property Selection window by using the Simple Property and Composite Property buttons. Choose Simple Properties to create a basic property. Here is an example of how you too can use a custom selection list as an additional property. If you do not have a custom selection list ready, you can make one in the Global Settings, CMDB Database, Additional Properties, Custom Selection Lists. From Basic Property, select the Custom Selection List option. In the Properties of Custom Selection Lists, it is necessary to select an already prepared selection list, the title of the additional property and the group. Click the Save button to add your own selection list as an additional property to the request. After filling in all the required basic information, it is necessary to link the template with a tile. You assign a template to a tile in the Link to Tile tab. The tab contains a list of tiles in the requests catalog that you prepared earlier. Select which tiles the template will be available for. In case you need to edit the tiles, you can use the Go to Catalog Settings link, which will take you directly to Global Settings, Requests Catalog. For the correct functioning of the template, it is necessary to assign the template to a company. To save the template, you first need to assign companies to it, either by selecting companies by type or directly, by selecting specific companies from the list in the right half of the window. To narrow down the choice of the companies offered or to find a specific company, use the search box above the list. This way, the template will only be available to assigned companies in the service catalog. The catalog can also be distinguished by the offer of templates by job positions or user groups, which can be defined in the global settings. Visibility can be adjusted by clicking the icons in the I column. Tick, users see the template in the request catalog, and the prohibition sign, users do not have the ability to see the template in the request list. Determining the visibility of a request is suitable for creating requests that should be accessible, for example, only to senior executives, directors or managers. To add the template you are creating, click Save. The Tasks tab becomes available if the task module is turned on after you save the template in the global settings. Tasks automatically generate after a request is created through a template in which the tasks are defined. Tasks can be conditionally created based on certain properties, but only at the moment of creating a request. Running one task does not depend on the completion of other tasks. If you need some connection between the tasks, use the work orders described in the next paragraph. For the complexity of this feature, we will skip it since the functioning of the request template will not be affected. The Work Orders tab appears only after you save the template and if you have the Work Orders module turned on in the global settings. The automatic generation of work orders is realized after the request is established through a template in which the work orders are defined. The created work orders can interact with each other serial or parallel. The start of a particular order may or may not depend on the completion of previous commands. For now, we will skip this feature, as its complexity will not affect the functioning of the template. But if you need to know something more, do not hesitate to look for more information in the manual on our webpage cdesk.eu. To create a new request from the catalogue, in Requests, click the Add from Catalogue button or click the top plus button. We believe that with this video, we have brought you closer to the world of the catalogue of requests in CDesk.